You just spent money without feeling it. Maybe it was this morning, maybe it was 5 minutes ago, but I guarantee it happened today. And the reason you didn't feel it? A psychological trick invented in 1450 by a family so powerful they could make kings beg. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is documented financial manipulation that's been refined across 5 centuries, and it's in your wallet right now. By the end of this video, you'll never look at your credit card the same way again, and more importantly, you'll know exactly how to fight back. Picture this moment. A woman stands at a coffee counter, tired from a morning that started too early. The barista calls out the total, $3.50. She taps her card against the reader. That familiar beep. Transaction approved. She takes her latte and walks out. And here's what just happened inside her brain. Absolutely nothing. No pain receptors fired. No loss registered. No emotional consequence whatsoever. The money left her account, but psychologically, nothing left her hands. Now freeze that moment and travel back through time with me. Same transaction, different technology. Imagine she pays with cash instead. She opens her wallet, sees her remaining bills, pulls out a 5, hands it over, receives change, counts it, puts it away. Her brain processed that transaction completely differently. The insula, a region associated with physical pain, actually activated on brain scans. She felt loss. She experienced spending as a genuine psychological event. This difference, this gap between feeling and reality, is worth billions of dollars to the financial industry. And they didn't invent it. They stole it from the most brilliant banking family in history. Florence, Italy, 1450. The Medici family controls more wealth than most kingdoms, but they're about to discover something more valuable than gold itself. They're about to hack the human brain. Here's the problem they faced, and this is where everything begins. Medieval Europe was spectacularly dangerous for anyone carrying money. Imagine you're a fabric merchant who needs to travel from Florence to London to buy wool. You need to carry enough gold to purchase your goods, pay for your journey, and handle unexpected expenses. We're talking about a fortune in heavy metal coins, and you need to transport this wealth across 1,000 miles of mountain passes, forest roads, and open sea. Every mile is a potential death sentence. Bandits operate organized networks across major trade routes. They have informants in cities who tell them which merchants are traveling with money. They know the vulnerable points on every road, the blind curves, the narrow bridges, the forest stretches where screams go unheard. Pirates control Mediterranean shipping lanes, and they're not romanticized Caribbean adventurers. They're brutal criminals who kill without hesitation. The fear is constant and suffocating. Merchants hire armed guards, travel in groups, disguise their wealth, take longer routes through safer territory. None of it guarantees survival. A successful merchant might make this journey dozens of times in a career, and everyone knows someone who left on a trading journey and simply never came home. Their families would wait months, then years, never knowing if they died from violence, disease, or accident. The psychological toll was immense. Giovanni de' Medici understood this terror intimately because his clients lived it constantly. But here's what separated him from every other banker in Europe. He asked a different question. While everyone else focused on making gold transportation safer, Giovanni asked, what if the gold doesn't need to travel at all? The solution was elegant, revolutionary, world-changing. A merchant deposits gold with the Medici Bank in Florence. In exchange, he receives a letter. This isn't just any letter. It contains coded information, secret marks, verification systems that only Medici agents across Europe can authenticate. The merchant travels to London carrying nothing but this document. When he arrives, he presents the letter to the Medici branch there. The agent verifies the codes, confirms authenticity, and hands over English currency. The gold never moved. Only information traveled. This innovation saved lives, enabled trade, and made the Medici spectacularly wealthy. But then something unexpected happened. something that would echo across centuries into your pocket today. Cosimo de' Medici, Giovanni's son, noticed a strange pattern in the spending behavior of merchants using these letters of credit. These were careful businessmen, traders who counted every coin, men whose survival depended on financial caution. But when they used letters of credit instead of physical gold, they spent more freely. They made larger purchases. They took bigger risks. They committed to expenses they would have hesitated over with actual coins in hand. Cosimo was a genius observer of human nature, and he understood what was happening. The psychological experience of spending had fundamentally changed. Gold is heavy. You feel its weight. You watch your pouch grow lighter as you spend. Every transaction creates tangible, physical loss. But a letter? A letter of credit represents gold somewhere else. Money that exists abstractly, wealth that's real but not present. And human brains, evolved over millions of years to respond to physical reality, simply couldn't process this abstract loss with the same emotional intensity. The connection between spending and pain had been severed. The Medici had accidentally discovered that making money invisible makes debt irresistible, and they built an empire on this insight. But here's what's truly stunning. Cosimo didn't just observe this phenomenon. He weaponized it. He understood that the real product his bank was selling wasn't convenience or safety. It was psychological distance. The Medici were selling the feeling of spending without the pain of loss. They were the first financial institution in history to realize that human psychology, not interest rates or exchange fees, was the true source of banking profit. Fast forward to New York City, 1949. A businessman named Frank McNamara is finishing dinner at Major's Cabin Grill restaurant. The meal was excellent, the company pleasant, and then comes the moment every diner dreads. The check arrives. McNamara reaches for his wallet and feels nothing but empty pocket. In the confusion of changing suits, he's left his wallet at home. The embarrassment burns like physical heat. He has to call his wife, wait at the restaurant, endure the pitying looks from staff while the manager wonders if he's about to dine and dash. In that moment of humiliation, McNamara has an idea that will resurrect the Medici trick for the modern age. What if there was a way to dine without carrying cash? What if your identity itself could be credit? The Diners Club card launches the following year, and with it, the Medici effect returns with 5 centuries of refinement ready to be applied. Now, before we go deeper into how modern credit cards perfected this psychological manipulation, I need you to do something for me. If this video is already changing how you see your own spending, hit that like button right now. It tells YouTube to share this with more people who need to understand this manipulation. Drop a comment telling me the last thing you bought with a card that you probably wouldn't have bought with cash. Be honest, this is a judgment-free zone. We've all fallen for this trick. And subscribe to Easy Finance, because we're rebuilding a community of people who refuse to be manipulated by financial systems designed to exploit us. We post videos every week breaking down the psychological tricks and systemic traps that keep people in debt. Click that subscribe button and join thousands of viewers who are taking back control of their financial lives. Now, let's talk about how credit card companies took the Medici discovery and turned it into a science. Early credit cards were simple charge cards where you paid your full balance monthly. But banks quickly realized they could amplify the Medici effect exponentially. They introduced revolving credit, which meant you didn't have to pay everything back immediately. They created minimum payments, making it possible to carry balances indefinitely while paying mostly interest. They added reward points, creating positive associations with card use. Each innovation added another layer of psychological abstraction between you and your actual spending. Neuroscientists have now studied this extensively using brain imaging technology. When subjects in research studies pay for items with cash, the insular region of their brain activates significantly. This is the same brain region that responds to physical pain. Your brain genuinely registers spending cash as a form of suffering, a loss, something being taken from you. This creates natural spending resistance. You hesitate before purchases. You reconsider whether you really need items. Your brain is literally protecting you from loss through the mechanism of psychological pain. But when those same subjects pay with credit cards, the insula activation drops dramatically. The pain response nearly disappears. The transaction registers as emotionally neutral or even slightly positive if rewards are involved. Nothing tangible left your possession, so your ancient brain circuitry, evolved over millions of years, doesn't register this as loss. The psychological barrier between wanting something and buying it collapses. Credit card companies understand this better than you understand it about yourself. They have rooms full of behavioral psychologists, data scientists, and consumer researchers whose entire job is maximizing this effect. Every design choice, every feature, every word on your statement is engineered to make debt feel as abstract and painless as possible. Consider the language carefully. They never say you're going into debt. They talk about your available credit, as if they're offering you money that already belongs to you. They emphasize your credit limit as spending power, reframing borrowed money as personal financial strength. Your monthly statement prominently displays the minimum payment in large, friendly numbers while your total balance and interest charges are smaller, easier to skip over. Even the word credit itself sounds positive, virtuous, nothing like the harsh reality of debt. Then there are rewards programs. Cashback, airline miles, points that convert to gift cards and merchandise. These create a phenomenon psychologists call positive reinforcement. Your brain starts associating card use with gaining something rather than losing something. You're not spending money anymore, you're earning rewards. The Medici made debt feel abstract. Modern credit cards make it feel profitable. The physical design matters more than you think. Cards are smooth, sleek, often genuinely beautiful objects. Premium cards are metal now, weighted, substantial feeling. They're designed to feel good in your hand, to feel like status symbols rather than instruments of debt. Tap-to-pay technology has made transactions even more frictionless. No signature for most purchases, no PIN needed, just a gentle tap, and it's done. The easier the physical act of spending becomes, the weaker your psychological resistance. But the truly insidious part is the data. Credit card companies have decades of spending information from hundreds of millions of users. They know exactly when you're most vulnerable to overspending. They know people spend more on weekends, more when stressed, more when shopping online versus in person, more in the evening than morning. They use this data to time credit limit increases, to offer new cards precisely when you're most likely to accept, to optimize everything around encouraging maximum borrowing at the moments you're least likely to recognize the danger. The statistics are devastating. The average American household carrying credit card debt owes over $8,000. Interest rates often exceed 20% annually. People pay minimum payments for years, sometimes decades, watching purchases they barely remember compound into financial anchors that limit their choices, delay their dreams, and create constant background stress. That $3 latte from our opening? If you paid only the minimum payment on a card with typical interest rates, that single purchase could eventually cost you over $10 once interest compounds over time. The Medici would recognize this system instantly. It's their creation, refined and perfected through 5 centuries of financial innovation. Make the debt invisible. Make spending feel painless. Let human psychology do the rest. They discovered this accidentally while solving a legitimate problem. Modern credit card companies deploy it deliberately, backed by millions of dollars in psychological research, for the explicit purpose of encouraging people to spend more than they can afford. So here's what you do with this knowledge. How do you resist a psychological trick that's been perfected over 500 years and backed by billion-dollar corporations with unlimited resources? The answer starts with radical awareness. Every single time you reach for that card, pause for just 3 seconds. Close your eyes if you need to. Imagine yourself pulling out cash instead. Visualize opening your wallet, seeing your remaining bills, counting them out, handing them over. Feel the psychological resistance that would create. If you genuinely wouldn't make this purchase with cash, you absolutely should not make it with credit. Set up your banking app to send push notifications for every single transaction in real time. That immediate feedback helps restore the psychological connection between spending and loss. It makes the abstract concrete again. It makes the invisible visible. You need to feel each transaction as it happens, not discover it days later when you check your statement. Use cash for discretionary spending categories. Withdraw a set amount each week for coffee, entertainment, small purchases, the things you buy impulsively. Put it in your wallet and nowhere else. When the cash is gone, it's genuinely gone. You'll be shocked at how much more carefully you spend when money is physical again, when your brain can see and feel your remaining resources. If you use credit cards for convenience, rewards, or building credit history, pay the full balance every single month, automatically if possible. Set up auto pay for the full statement balance, not the minimum. Never carry a balance. Never pay a cent in interest. Treat your credit card exactly like the Medici's letters of credit were originally intended, as a convenient tool for moving money you already have, not as access to money you don't. Finally, and this is crucial, share this knowledge. The system works because most people don't understand they're being manipulated. Every person you tell about the Medici effect is one more person who can resist it. Financial literacy isn't just about personal success. It's about collective resistance against systems designed to exploit psychological vulnerabilities. Before we close, I need to ask you something important. If this video changed how you think about money, if you're going to handle your credit card differently after watching this, then I need you to take action right now to help other people discover this information. Smash that like button so YouTube's algorithm shows this to more people who need it. Leave a comment sharing your biggest takeaway or telling me what financial topic you want us to cover next, because I read every single comment and your input directly shapes our content. Share this video with someone you care about who's struggling with credit card debt or overspending, because sometimes the most valuable thing you can give someone is information that changes their perspective. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Easy Finance and hit that notification bell. We're building something special here, a community of people who refuse to be victims of financial manipulation, who understand that knowledge is power, and who are committed to taking control of their financial futures. We post new videos every week breaking down the psychological tricks, systemic traps, and hidden manipulations in personal finance. Join us. Be part of this community. Together, we're rewriting the rules of money. The Medici understood that money is psychological before it's mathematical. They built a fortune on making debt feel like freedom. Credit card companies inherited their playbook and deployed it on a global scale with centuries of refinement and billions in research backing every decision. But you, armed with this knowledge, can see through the trick. You can feel the weight of spending even when nothing physical leaves your hands. You can resist the manipulation because you understand the mechanism. That piece of plastic in your wallet is only as powerful as your awareness allows it to be. The Medici are long dead, their palaces now museums, their financial empire scattered to history. But their greatest trick lives on, refined and perfected, waiting in your wallet. The question is, now that you see it clearly, now that you understand the 500-year manipulation, will you let it continue working on you? Or will you be the one who breaks free, who spends consciously, who makes the invisible visible again? The choice, as always, was yours all along. Now you just know what you're actually choosing between. I'll see you in the next video. Stay aware, stay informed, and stay in control of your money.